Greetings and salutations, my fellow weirdos and wildlings. If you've just tuned in and can see me, you'll notice the awesomely colored hair, awesomely cut hair. That's right. I just saw my amazing sister, who is a hairdresser, and make sure that I am in the awesome hair, even through crazy things like COVID. I have the awesome hair. Total advantage, total win, totally own that. I absolutely do. Hi, I'm Vi the Abysmal Witch, and welcome to the Abysmal Perspective, where I like to talk about things, assuming you already are somewhat in the witchy experience and know, because, yeah, I'm diving a little deeper into those territories. And today, it must be the season of the witch. Must be the season of the witch. It is. I mean, you know, sounds just passed. For those who are like to celebrate on the October 31st, November 1st time frame, there are the people, of course, who do the astronomical halfway literal between the equinox and the solstice and go, hey, yeah, that would be the sorry, I need to pay attention for a second. Oh, this is the street I want. Yes, all right then. They take the Samhain as the astronomical midpoint between those two places and go, yeah, there you go. We got some Samhain on the go. I'm not that as a general rule, though I guess you could say it's the 12 days of Halloween for me, which I think I did in a Penny's episode when I was having some crazy fun times. I'm pretty sure I did the 12 days of Halloween one year on the podcast as a way of being fun and funny. You know, you gotta live life and you gotta have some fun. And we just had a little accident there with the equipment, but looks like everything's going well. So onwards and upwards we continue. Right up. So season of the witch, you know, if you've just crossed into Samhain yourself or such familiarity, you know, classical ways of looking at the season is, of course, the season of the earth, right? It's winter. We're heading into winter. Now, in the last episode or a recent episode, I know I got my Babylon about, maybe that's where Babylon comes from. Just kidding. About viewing things differently with the seasons and stuff. And depending on which particular track of opinion you already hold. Maybe you already agree with me, in which case, cool, you're not alone. And you probably do that anyway. So this is getting into the specific of this season. There are the world around me, the mundane world around me, sees Yule as the first day of winter, which I will absolutely grant that it is the beginning, the start, if you will, of full winter. Like you've got no question. We are in winter. Winter be here. But for me, that is winter arrived, not winter beginning, because you got to get through the door, take off the shoes and the coat, get your stuff squared away, get the, you know, drink in the hand if you're at the party, right? Like, it takes a while to get fully settled in from crossing the door. Same can be said for boat initiations, topic for a different day, that the moment of initiation and actually attaining a degree are two different things. I don't think it's talked about nearly enough, given that it has some really interesting impacts on the experience and the reality of what it means to be initiated. But I digress. So with the season and winter, first off, I am of the, as I was just saying, Yule is, yes, we are in full on hello winter. We have arrived. For me, Samhain is winter is rising. Winter is coming. Game of Thrones, right? Because I never saw it. I read the first book. I didn't make it to the other books. I didn't have time. Reading's a luxury. It requires time. And I never watched the series. Sorry. I'm I'm sure that terrifies and gets a bunch of people. I've never seen Titanic either, which apparently is how the heck did I manage to miss seeing Titanic? And people now will say, well, no loss there necessarily. But at the time, it was downright unheard of. And because sometimes I just miss what's going for the rest of the world. I don't know. But in this case, Samhain, as the beginning of winter, the coming of winter. Winter is rising is how I typically address it for myself when I am greeting the day and the various components of time and space that surround me. I acknowledge the changing of the season, and currently that is through the winter is rising. Sometimes it's still like recognizing the autumn, but still with winter rising. And boy, can you feel it. Things got definitively colder. I live in a place where the seasons are obvious in their changing and rather aligned with the Celtic or British Isles experiences that lead to standard Wiccan practice is what I think I'll toss out there. At least that is my understanding and my belief. So that's one component of the season of the witch. I saw, it's the season. I was watching Agatha All Along again, which has that song repeatedly in it, but also in a 911 episode that I saw recently had it. It's everywhere. And the other component is the season of winter. So it doesn't necessarily, if you're a Yule as winter person, this still would apply. If you are, maybe some people don't align the seasons, because you can align the seasons, the directions, and elements together. You don't have to, and they can be aligned differently. Yes, they can. They do not have to be in the quote-unquote traditional placement, which was simply, from what I understand from conversations, I cannot, however, confirm that as official history, that it ultimately came down to a combination of what people understood as practice that was being reconstructed and what was the agreed upon standard for community. And the agreed upon standard for community became locked in because it is very convenient and much easier to work with people that you rarely see if you're coming together solitaries and small covens and groups, and you come together to do a larger group ritual. If you already have a practice where all of you are calling the same element in the same direction, so much easier. There's no need for discussion or negotiation to arrive at what will work. You're already there. You have pre-arrived. It's rather cool, but it does limit the ability to explore and express if we fixate on that as being the way and the only way. So with the seasons, I'm winter north, being in the northern hemisphere. That makes perfect sense. I'm sorry I do not speak to southern hemisphere. I don't live there. My best typical understanding is that it's a flipped situation. I mean, you're in opposite seasons to us, but also your cold place is in the south, my cold place is in the north, right? So having winter in the north follows very well, and therefore seasons travel around the clock face and around you in a circle, and all the circlenesses. Summer ends up, of course, in the south. Very, again, logical from a North American perspective, where the farther south you go, the warmer it gets. So it has a very natural connotation or denotation? Connotation, I think. It just works. It fits. It fits our personal experience. So, of course, yes, hallelujah. Where we get different and funky, I'm also kind of admiring the sunset that's kind of starting to happen behind me, which, I wouldn't normally be looking at, but if I glance over, I can see that I'm recording myself. Hi! And I can see the pretty colors without actually turning my head. It's rather lovely, actually. we associate traditionally, I love that word, sort of, the north with earth. Now, if you have, of course, caught one of my earlier episodes, you have already heard my cheerful, rant on, let's not call it earth, let's call it stone. Let's have a little extra clarity here, because earth can be stone, but it can also be dirt, which is all about the dead of living things, to create more life. So I'm of the stone, not earth persuasion, of which I am trying to persuade other people to join me in the stone, not earth persuasion. So be persuaded, come on over. It isn't earth, it's stone. So this would be the season of stone, by that reckoning, by standard ways of engaging and knowing the Wiccan process or traditions. However, oh yes, here it comes. I have it flipped with the south. So in my practice, the north is where the season, not of stone, but of fire. And correspondingly, the south is where I place the season of, season of stone. Now, didn't I just say that winter and north makes sense and summer and south makes sense? And wouldn't you put stone and winter together and fire and summer together? Doesn't that make like a hell of a lot of sense? You just said getting warmer, and fire is warm, and getting colder, and stone is cold. Yes, those attributes do apply. However, and when I shift my perspective to the winter is fire, well, I want me some fire in my winter. I do, because you know what? It's fucking cold, and I don't like being cold. We need the fire to survive in the winter. And when it comes to the summer and when the shit that's been happening, thank you, climate change and humanity, yes, we know how to fuck up our world like nothing else does. Woo! Except maybe an asteroid, which could kill everything. But, if it's Terran bound and it's not the planet itself, we are the kick-ass destroyers. Ooh, of course we are. Given climate change and the ever-increasing hot summernesses that are happening, that I actually appreciate the cold and the stone happening in the summer. I don't want more fire in my summer. My summer has enough fucking fire in it. It has enough fucking heat. I need to get me some cool, so I flipped them, because there's a different type of meaning. Remember, just like 3 minutes, maybe 5 ago, I was saying that we do not have to have the strict alignment of what has typically been done in the past, that we can flip it around and explore. Welcome to this flip around and explore, and I think it is very much worth the explore, because feel it, baby. We're heading into winter, and you let this be the season of fire, and it pulls for me in also the body. I associate the body with fire and not stone, even though, and I put our will, our bolos, if you will, into stone, which is another flip, and I cannot in this moment remember if I've already talked about this or not. There are, again, reasons why I do it, and it aligns as well with the season directionality into north and winter and fire and body and soma. Why fire and soma? Because there is, without fire, without activity, our soma is no longer soma. It is a body in a barn, or a body underground, or a body lying dead somewhere. It is the electrical activity in our brain and passing through our muscles and firing things. It is the activity in our bodies that indicate life. Our living body is our living body because of the fire that is coursing through us. Versus our volos, our will, our intentionality, that which we do through choice, but then determination. When we make and shape our world, people think of it as fire, and you have to like burn, baby, burn. Okay, not burn that kind of wood, but you know, like the fiery drive. I'm like, what if instead of a fiery drive of passion to get you through, that it's not passion, but stone cold determination, that we make choices and we follow through on them because we have committed ourselves in a way that stone does, in a solidness that stone understands and embodies, and that by connecting with stone, when we do that, we can better embody the stick-to-itness that we so desire. Because fire is not a stick-to-itness thing. It is a shift and flow and flicker and go down and go big, and it is change. I don't want change in my intention and my will and what I am doing. I want to have some constancy to arrive at where I want to arrive at. You know, I love me some chaos and the playing into the wild and the shift and flow and the blah, blah, blah. But I don't put my goals into there, because that is not a great way to get the stuff achieved. So yes, I flip them. And thus, right now, since right now for me the season is rising, the season of winter is rising, the season of fire is rising. We're coming into a season where we are stripped to the bareness of our life, and it is fire inside and out. It is heat that keeps us going, and that we lack on the outside, need to find on the inside. We need to create in the world around us, and that we look forward to the global return when the sun returns. But we rely on ourselves and our own inner and home man-made fire for the next part. All right, that's it. I'm going to stop there. Much loves to you all. Thank you for joining me in this damp and kind of sunset-y little travel with my Spiky do. You won't see Spiky again because I am lazy and the pixie pull forward is super easy for me. But my sister has done a lovely job, and the color, is so rocking. I'm amethyst now. Yes, that's right. This violet has become amethyst. Just teasing you. All right, with all the love and blessings of the weird and wild to you, take great care of yourselves. Bless be.